Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I am Heel Harry. This is Big Tyson. We have a week full of wrestling to talk about. We'll talk about, sorry, excuse for Raw. And then we'll talk about SmackDown, which was a little bit better. We got The Rock. Some rumors going on with The Rock. We got some Vince stuff. It's a little exasperating, but we'll try to piece it together. What else? Oh, Tony Atlas released a video. Both of us were a little confused, so we're going to talk about that as well. So sit back, relax, enjoy, get yourself a drink. Show's starting now.
But yeah, what a week of wrestling. I feel like
My
Raw,
goodness.
I don't know, I feel like people were deflated on Raw. Fans were deflated because of the whole Vince stuff. Seems like the show, they they knew they were going to be up against the college football playoffs, which were
Mhm.
no, the championship, which was a blowout. So it seems like they didn't even try.
Well, I agree with you. They didn't even try, but I did think that the the both shows, well, not both shows. I thought this week would be really flat and awful because of the Vince stuff, and Raw led me to believe that. But then SmackDown happened, and SmackDown was significantly better than Raw. So I just think Raw sucks. I think Raw is shit.
It is, but SmackDown is always better than Raw. So there's no difference there.
Yeah,
Was
but they could have.
SmackDown better than the SmackDown of previous?
I think so. Yeah, I think this week's SmackDown was better than last week's SmackDown.
Mm, I don't know. I mean, it was a good SmackDown. I will say that. But was it better than last week's? Honestly, I don't even remember what happened last week, so I can't really compare.
Well, let's take a look. Bear
Like
with me.
I,
Bear
I
with me,
couldn't tell
chat.
you. Oh wait, was last week? Did I even see last week? Was that the week I was out? I thought it
No,
was the
that
week
was.
before.
Yeah. Come on, dude. Let's see. We started off with the Bloodline. Then we had Kofi and Escobar. Sammy promo. We had
Oh
LA
yeah.
Knight.
Okay. Okay.
Then we had the intergender tag match. Sheamus and McIntyre in the bar. We had Sharface. Then we had Sonya Deville versus Sharface. And then we had Ricochet versus Top Dollar. You're telling me? Guess what? Guess what we didn't have this week?
Ricochet.
Or Top Dollar.
True.
Uh, then we had the Usos versus McIntyre and Sheamus. So
Okay.
this week, I mean, we had Gunther and Strowman. That alone.
Yeah. Pretty good
Um,
match.
then we had, Sammy, a lot of Sammy. Then we had the Rey Mysterio and Karrion Cross stuff. Then we had the women's crap. Then we had Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt did a little remix of all the shit that he used to do. And yeah, then we had Zayn versus Owens.
Boy, you kind of just gave a whole rundown of the.
Yeah, we'll get into more detail, but that's just comparing this week's SmackDown to last week's SmackDown. I think this week blows it out of the water.
I can make some like. Well, I guess when we go through the breakdown, I have some little nitpicks that I can go through.
Well, sure. I mean, I'm not
And
saying it was
then on the
perfect, but I'm just if we're comparing this week's SmackDown to last week's SmackDown, I'm saying that this week's is better. I'm not saying it was a perfect show. I'm not saying it was the best show. I'm just saying it was better than last week.
okay, I'll
Anyway,
give you that. Okay.
so finally starting off with Raw. Kevin Owens opens the show. He starts a promo because I thought, man, they're going to the 30-minute promo opens again, and thankfully JBL interrupts. Insults Alabama. Says that Alabama is one generation from walking on all fours. And no one believes that Kevin Owens can beat Reigns. He said, put your woke, chubby hands together for the wrestling god. And out comes Corbin. I skipped Corbin's promo.
Uh, I was about with you there on the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like the whole opening, I was with you there. Even the match.
yeah.
Um,
Like, why is this
because
happening?
Corbin's there, and so here's the thing.
Yep.
It wasn't because Corbin was there. There's there's times he has decent matches or whatever, but he was going against Kevin Owens. So what I already knew was that he wasn't beating Kevin Owens. So I decided to continue making my dinner so that I can be ready for the rest of the show.
Well, my issue
Uh,
with it was that Kevin Owens is feuding with the undisputed heavyweight champion. Baron Corbin's a joke. I don't care how many Hall of Famers he has with him. He's just, I don't know. I don't ever see him as a main event or yeah, main event guy. So the fact that he has a not only a match but a slightly competitive match, because there were times when it looked like Corbin was gonna pull it off.
well, he is a wrestling god, apparently.
Yeah, but come on.
Even though I say he's a jobber god because he never wins.
So I thought it was way too long, and I thought it was way too competitive. I thought Owens should have just you should have showcased like Owens just kicking ass, especially if you're gonna have Corbin. Just let him just let Corbin job and move on. Build Owens up, but they don't know how to do that.
Well, I think the match. I don't know. The promos lasted longer than the match did, so there was that. They just went through a commercial, and he's the wrestling god, so there's that too. But yeah, I didn't really watch it, so
What has he done to
I
be?
can't give too much of a breakdown.
What has he done to be the wrestling god though? Besides JBL just saying it out of the blue, he beat Dolph
That's
Ziggler.
all.
He lost to Drew
That's all.
McIntyre.
I'm saying that's what he's supposed to be. So
Right. I don't know.
you know, yeah. But uh, there was a meme that came out of all this, which is the bright side of it all,
Oh, okay.
and that was when Corbin was talking and Kevin was sleeping on the turnbuckle. It's now become a meme for most wrestling fans watching Monday Night Raw, or how we feel during Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was awful. Um, so after Owens wins with the stunner, of course. Again, though, it was just way too long and way too competitive. After that, the Bloodline come out and they beat the shit out of Owens. The Bloodline knock Owens out twice, yet Owens manages to take out three Samoans and run them off, which I thought was a little silly, especially if you've ever been around Samoans.
He did have his equalizer at being chair.
Didn't Sokoa Joe get hit with a chair and he was okay?
Yeah,
Okay then. I rest my case.
well, I'm just telling you.
And I'm just telling you. So
Okay.
then, so then the Usos are walking backstage, and then Pierce makes them wrestle later. I wish they'd just not Pierce out, quite honestly. Tired of him. Alexa Bliss then cuts a promo on the announce desk. Says Belair is afraid of her.
I need you to get that energy up. What are you doing?
Do you want to do it? You do
it. We then move on to Alexa Bliss, and she is out there. She cuts a promo. She is standing on the announce table. What she said was kind of irrelevant. Let's be honest. She basically.
No. She said she's the new face. No, she's the face of evil. The face of evil. Let that sink in. Alexa Bliss said she is the face of evil.
Okay. So yeah, she says she's the face of evil, and she says that it was always her, basically. And then all of a sudden, as she's giving her little promo, the lights go out, and so we get like a vignette of
it's a swing set or some
swing
playground or some
set at a
shit.
school. Yeah.
God.
Everything's empty. And it's a gray tone, so we just see like the swing set and it's swinging, and we see pictures of like evil Alexa Bliss, and then we have Uncle Howdy. He says, uh, he says, "Do you feel in charge?" And all of a sudden, out walks Uncle Howdy on Monday Night Raw. He doesn't do anything,
No, he
uh,
doesn't. Which is a common
but
theme with anything related to Bray Wyatt.
he comes out kind of weird. He gets to the top of the ramp,
It's
and
so
then all of a
stupid.
sudden it just goes to black, and then we never hear anything else
He
from
no, he's
either one of them.
no. He's standing in the mist, holding his lapels, giggling, and that's it. And then Alexa Bliss is staring with her little determined look on her face. She's the face of evil. Fucking stupid. I don't know why Alexa Bliss is involved. I don't know why you have to involve Bray Wyatt, Uncle
What do you
Howdy,
mean?
and
Why is
Alexa
Alexa
Bliss.
Bliss involved? I don't want
She
to give you the history lesson,
she's
but
out.
she has to be involved.
She doesn't need to be re-involved. No.
Now, I will say though, I guess I was wrong.
Especially because she sucks.
Okay, but I guess I was wrong because I did say last week, if you remember, I said I think this is all a ploy because Bray Wyatt hasn't even so much as hinted at Alexa Bliss, but Alexa Bliss keeps mentioning Bray Wyatt. So I think it was all a ploy. Turns out, now that Uncle Howdy shows up, I was probably wrong. And this
Shocker.
is something into what she's doing.
I don't know. I just anything with Alexa Bliss, I fuck her. I no. She's awful.
Okay.
She can't. Her promos suck. She's not believable. I can't. I no. I just can't suspend any form of disbelief when she's on the screen.
Well, that's okay. That's why I'm here. You got your bangers, and I got my sports entertainment. This stuff is for me. You get your bangers.
All right. So after that shit, we get to more shit because Bailey wrestled Michin, whatever the hell her name is. I skipped it. I think Bailey won.
Bailey did win off of a rose plant. There's nothing to this. I think it went like 2-3 minutes, so there you
There you go.
go.
So is Michin dead now? Because I mean, Bailey. When's the last time Bailey won? Oh yeah, she
What do
beat
you mean? She just beat Becky Lynch.
she with the interference. After
They're
that, it was
they're
like
building
what,
back to
the Ice Age,
before she came back.
NXT.
Mm, but they're building towards another rematch here for Becky Lynch and Bailey. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but that seems to be where we're headed with that.
All right. Well, whatever.
I guess I'm okay with it, but I don't know. Not really invested with it, but
Just
they'll put on their bangers.
it just seems really
That's what
redundant.
everybody wants.
But what what can you expect with this booking? Next, we get Ripley versus Candice LeRae. Ripley won, of course. My issue is
Of
Candice
course she
LeRae,
did.
of course. My issue is Candice LeRae actually had like some near falls and she had some offense, which that just makes her match with Tozawa even more fucking retarded. Nobody thinks ahead of shit like that. Can't Candice LeRae is a nothing. Candice LeRae wears little fucking fairy wings. If Rhea Ripley's supposed to be the Eradicator, she should have just stomped on this bitch. She didn't. But she did to Tozawa, a grown ass man. That's bullshit.
I mean, you and I watched two different matches, I guess.
What are you talking about?
I didn't see any of that in this match. I saw it one-sided. Rhea Ripley was throwing her around from pillar to post. The only offense that LeRae got was reversing. Like she reversed a powerbomb into a hurricanrana. She reversed something into a code red. Like her only offense was reversals. Outside of that, she was just getting tossed around, and then she got the riptide and got stacked up for the pin.
She shouldn't have got the reversals.
Well, even Tozawa got the reversals.
Tozawa is a grown ass man.
I'm saying
No, I'm saying that's
you're,
stupid.
you couldn't even.
To make Candice LeRae even look like she belongs in the ring with Rhea Ripley after Tozawa is stupid. But they did it anyway.
Again, that's what I'm saying. It didn't look like at no point did I see that as being a competitive
It was at first,
match.
and then of course Rhea, at about the time when she tried to do that DDT, that's when it was over. But before that, she had the roll up. She was bouncing and she was beating and scatting all over the place. I don't know. Maybe I
Yeah.
remember it differently. Anyway,
I'm saying maybe we watched two different matches
fair enough.
because I was actually I remember the Tozawa match. So as soon as they were making this match, I'm like, well, what are they gonna do here? Because she just beat Tozawa, so Candice LeRae shouldn't be a competitive match. And then I was surprised to see that it wasn't actually competitive, and the
It
only
was at first
offense
though.
was
There was some back.
reversals.
There was some back and forth at first, and yeah, she shouldn't have. Candice LeRae shouldn't have. She shouldn't have the strength to to roll up Ripley. That's my thing. She shouldn't have the strength to Hurricane Rana her.
Okay.
I'm saying if it's supposed to be realistic. Do you want me to
Is it
believe?
though?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. Anyway,
Okay.
so after that we get Sakoa Joe versus Dolph Ziggler. Um, Again, instead of having Sakoa Joe just squash Dolph Ziggler, they made it a competitive match. So they could have showcased Sakoa Joe. They didn't. They just had a back and forth. Bleh. Whatever.
I was not really into this match at all because, of course, it was Dolph Ziggler, so
Well, I will say
it was
it's
hard to match.
it's nice that Dolph Ziggler was there because it's somebody different. It's not just the bloodline.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was Dolph Ziggler, so I wasn't into the match at all really. But TCU was getting their ass kicked, so there's I was between a rock and a hard place in this one. I did feel like Joe, sorry, Sikoa became a. I don't know. You're starting to see that he is becoming a big deal on the show, which is great, and not just like on Raw, but in wrestling as a whole, he's becoming a big deal. So they're creating a new star in Solo Sikoa. But I was thinking, I'm like, what's his ceiling though? Like, obviously, he he said what, maybe five. I don't even think he's said words since he's been here. So they're obviously not comfortable putting him on the mic.
Right.
So he's not going to be one of those come out and cut a 10-minute promo to get everybody in the building. So what's really his ceiling? He's just going to be a silent destroyer for the whole career. That's not going to get you anywhere.
Brock Lesnar.
He had Paul Heyman.
You can give Heyman to Sikoa Joe. Roman doesn't need him. The Usos don't need him.
You know who they could get? Since he's pretty much turning himself into Umaga, they should go and get Armando Alejandro Estrada and
I'd
bring him back.
I'd be down with that. I'd be okay with
And then
that.
he
Yeah.
can he can manage Joe, and then that would be something.
Yeah. But if not, then I'd say Heyman could have Sikoa Joe or
That would be
Sammy.
good, but I'm thinking like I don't know. I don't see. I don't know if Heyman is going to be like a TV figure for I don't know 5, 10 more years.
True.
Roman's definitely not going to be doing it in 5, 10 more years.
True.
So
Well, who knows if Sikoa Joe's going to be doing it for 5, 10 more years?
I know 5 years. He's a young guy.
It might not even last
He's
30
like,
more minutes. It might be done. Might be
well,
done
he's a
as we
young guy.
speak.
He's like in his 30s.
Yeah, but I mean,
So,
something might happen. He might not. He just might not be in the
well, no, don't
WWE
don't
anymore.
don't go doing all that. I'm just saying.
No, and I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying Sikoa Joe personally might not be in the WWE. He might be released. He might all of a sudden decide wants to go to AEW.
Well, he ain't gonna make it over there for sure.
One of the writers might confuse him for a Mexican, and that might be it.
I'm just saying if all plays like it should. I mean, like when you're projecting a quarterback being a future star, you don't project, oh, but he might get that ACL torn out next year, so next week, next snap.
You
When you
do
talk
if
about Josh Allen being the top guy,
you do if
it's
he's
like
injury prone.
so Sokoa hasn't been injured.
Yeah, but if you have a history of top stars, kind of bailing.
I don't follow.
Sikoa
I was just
Joe,
saying. I was
Sikoa
just saying that was
Joe.
just my thought during the match. Was like, what's
Right,
his
hold
cap?
on, let me get it out. God damn.
we don't we don't have to put pen to paper right now. I was just thinking
I'm just
like
saying,
where's this
Sikoa Joe might not even be in the WWE in 5, 10 years. He might be released or whatever. The WWE has a history of their top guys not necessarily sticking around for forever. Look at Austin. Look at The Rock. Cena stuck around forever, but Shawn Michaels. Now they got the guys that are part time.
okay.
So Sikoa Joe, if he's in that top little spot, but 5, 10 years down the line, either he fucks up or he just gets a bug in his ass that he wants to go somewhere else. Maybe AEW is going to be better I don't see it happening, but maybe it will. I'm just saying you just can't rely on him or anybody.
So you're saying he doesn't have his cap is nowhere. That's his cap. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
In WWE,
yeah,
this
I
is
think he'll just be
this
a
is
new
his
MAGA
this
clone.
is as high as he gets for WWE
Uh,
or anywhere.
He might win a belt, but yeah, I just think he's gonna be a new MAGA clone. He even has
Okay,
the spike.
well there you go. I was just saying that's just because it's a Dolph Ziggler match, so I had time to think, and I was like, where does he go? Like, how far does he go? Because he's not gonna. I don't see him like being the face of the company. So it was just
He'd be a
interesting.
top heel. I could see him
And
being a
it's
top
all.
heel.
I guess it's all gonna come down to once his little run's over, as in because they keep talking about him being undefeated. Like after he loses that first, Rusev, what was the other guy? Was it Kozlov or
Oh, Victor Kozlov, the guy
yeah,
with the
the guy
big
that was in
forehead.
the red trunks
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, they're all about a streak. And then once their streak ended, then they were just like
Asuka.
whatever. Unfortunately, yes, all those people were about a streak.
Yeah,
And then once Undertaker at WrestleMania, once the streak was over, it's like now it's just
yeah.
another guy. Not saying Undertaker's another guy, but
He
you know,
lost to Cena.
once
He just started losing WrestleMania matches left and right after that.
yeah,
He lost to
like
Eugene.
once his streak was over, then you didn't care about any of his WrestleMania matches,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Well, that and his opponent. You know what? I wanted. Well, no, because the Bray Wyatt match that was before Lesnar. Because he beat Bray Wyatt, of course.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
honestly
I
think he
mean,
should have been undefeated. He should have like that should have been his thing to have never lost at WrestleMania.
yeah, if he wasn't going to give it to Wyatt, then because I thought Wyatt would benefit from it, especially when he was doing the little eater of world shit and making the lights flicker. I thought that was like them kind of doing the baton passing, but
Mm.
obviously they didn't. Anyway, moving on. Theory came out, and something about Theory. His look just does not look serious. I don't know. He looks like he's from a boy band.
I think that's just him being young.
That's
Still got
fair.
that pretty boy in him.
That's fair.
That was Randy Orton for a long time until he got into that hardcore match with Mick Foley.
I don't remember him
Or was
wearing.
it Edge? It was either Randy Orton or Edge. I don't remember which one was first.
I
They
don't remember
both
Edge being a
kind of
pretty
both
boy
did the
though.
same thing. Randy Orton for sure was like he's
Yeah.
just some little pretty boy, and then he went through that match. It's like okay,
Then he got all tatted up.
yeah,
All right. Theory mocks Cena. Says the champ is here.
pretty much confirms his WrestleMania match.
Yeah. Then he shits on Rollins. The crowd chants for Rollins. Rollins then comes out in crutches with Becky's shirt on. Theory basically just says how awesome he is, and he's going to win the Royal Rumble and then beat Roman. Still forgetting why he cashed in his briefcase.
Yep, ridiculous statement for
Like, I heard that. I'm
like,
like,
yeah, you
really?
didn't think about that. You didn't think that out too far out, did you?
Right. Seth says his knee will be 100% by the Royal Rumble. I was kind of hoping that Theory would drop kick Seth's knee. especially when he was just sitting there with his head on his hands, just waiting for Theory to finish speaking. Then Lashley comes out as Rollins is leaving. They kind of have like a little tiny mini stare down, but you can tell that Rollins isn't the focus for Lashley at the moment. Theory says, "Don't you come into my ring." And Lashley came into the ring. He didn't even hesitate, which made Theory look like a goof.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just gets tossed out like a sack of shit. And it's like, why have him have a belt if he's just going to be that weak?
I don't know, but we're getting to a point where it's becoming a drinking game to commentary saying if this was at the Royal Rumble, he'd be
Oh, right.
eliminated.
Yeah.
Because they got to say that every time someone gets thrown over the top in any match.
It's annoying, yeah. It's hard not to notice, too.
Yeah, it's like every match they're saying that. If this was the Royal Rumble, well, it's not.
Right.
We've determined it's not.
So Lashley says he's gonna join the Royal Rumble. Whatever. So then backstage, we
Even hold on, just about
yeah.
that. Even further proving my point that it was ridiculous that Ricochet and Top Dollar was in a qualifying match, and now here you got Lashley just saying I'm in the match.
Oh, dude, everybody's in the
Theory,
match.
yeah. So why are they
Just,
qualifying and everybody else is just saying I'm in?
see, well, actually, I thought about you when this was happening because all throughout both Raw and SmackDown, everybody's like, oh, we're in the Royal Rumble. Ricochet and Top Dollar are so low on the totem pole that they have to qualify. Like, of course, like a Bobby Lashley could just say, "Hey, I'm in the Royal Rumble," you know. Same with Theory. Same with Rollins. They're stars. But Top Dollar and Ricochet, they need to earn it.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous that they had to do that. Even Rey Mysterio comes on SmackDown. He comes
Rey
out. I'm
Mysterio
in
is
the
a
Royal
legend.
Rumble, but it just makes no sense unless it's part of a story and you're gonna have Ricochet. I don't know, do some kind of deep run in the Royal Rumble.
Oh my
I
god.
don't see him even getting to the like. He's not gonna make the final four. I can tell you that already.
He better not make the final
But
20.
well, he might not be out by the final 20.
He better. Get him out.
These were. And speaking of Royal, no, I'll save it.
Okay.
I'll save it.
You sure?
Yeah,
All right.
because it's gonna come up again.
All right. So, yeah. In the back, MVP approaches Lashley. They want to do business again. He's apologizing. Whatever. I didn't really pay too much attention.
I said it weeks ago. Hurt
Yep.
Business is getting back together.
Possibly.
Just furthering that story. What a coincidence.
And then finally we have Ms. Oh, wait, no, not finally. Next we have Ms. TV. Dominique comes out looking like Conan. Conan
Wasn't
from
this great? This was great.
Conan from WCW. Hold on. Conan from WCW. The Miz asked Dominique what prison was like. And Dominique, with a straight face, says snitches get stitches. And he also says that he now knows what Martha Stewart feels like. Or felt like. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm not feeling this. I want to like this. I really do. I actually, just this morning, I heard was it Keeping It 100 podcast with Disco and Conan.
Yeah.
Dominique was interviewed, and
Wait, they got him on the show?
yeah,
What the hell? Okay. How are they getting interviews and we're not? Not
Well,
that we need them.
I'm sure Conan's known him forever.
Whatever.
Him and Ray
But
go
you
way
got
back.
Disco Inferno on the show. Like that's your
I don't. Yeah, I
co-host.
don't understand. I don't understand how he. Anyway, but just listening to Dominique, like I really want to like him, but I can't get over the fact that he's just gets manhandled by the ladies. So I skipped it till the OC came out, and then I continued to skip it. And
Well, I can
oh,
fill you in here.
well, hold on. Let me real quick. A couple weeks ago, we mentioned the gauntlet match. We were talking about how what was it? I can't remember if it was the ladies gauntlet match or if the dudes had one, but there was a gauntlet
It
match.
was the women.
Okay. So the handicap thing, with the Stone Cold and then he has to wrestle the Undertaker and Kane and Mankind. Well, apparently that's a gauntlet match, but that's unique to WWE. The gauntlet match that we saw that they've been doing, that's more of a WCW type gauntlet match.
The one where the winner goes on.
Right. So I did some research after that.
Okay. So they just switched the rules
Sort
to
of.
the
I think
WCW one.
right. I think they're doing it a little bit more traditionally.
Okay.
And it's more
So I guess they use whichever one fits the storyline because I definitely
right.
remember after you said it, I remember
I specifically
Kofi
remember
Kingston.
Stone
No,
Cold.
didn't. Uh, there was one where the New Day had to run the gauntlet to get Kofi, and then Kofi Kingston had to run the gauntlet to get like a title match,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
then those they had to go through every team as opposed to if you win you move on. Now the match tonight or on Monday it was a tag team turmoil match, and it kind of turned into a gauntlet match because Judgment Day ran the table. So there's that.
Yeah, whatever.
So it was closer to your gauntlet match than the new gauntlet matches.
Well, I mean, no, because if the Judgment Day would have lost, then the next team would have come. They just happened to. They did what what's her face did, Pennington.
Yeah, I said I said they backed their way into the traditional gauntlet match,
Yeah.
or the one we're used to. Um, so yeah, going back to the Miz TV. So you had Dominic. He Miz asked him what prisons was like, and he was like, "Snitches get stitches." And then Miz was like, "Well, the people want to know." So then he started talking about how rough it was. He knows how uh, Martha Stewart feels. There was a moment where Damian Priest is like, "Tell him about when you scared that guy straight." And Dominic was like, "Yeah, so my cellmate, I heard him say he wanted to punch a hole in my face." So at night while when we were sleeping, I was on the top bunk, of course. I don't know why he threw that in there. Uh,
Because
I
that
didn't get
means
that reference.
he's the top dog. Top bunk is the usually the or I would assume is the premier spot in a cell.
Oh, okay.
Because you're at the bottom, you're more vulnerable.
Okay. Because, yeah, he was like, top bunk, of course. But yeah, he said during the middle of the night, he jumped down and he woke he woke his cellmate up and he said, "Hey, you got a problem with me?" And that was it.
Yeah,
And then,
I want to like this, man. I really do, but it's just
yeah, I get you. And then yeah, finally the Miz, he said what you said. I have sources that say you were just in a local, not a prison, a local something.
like
What is it?
county or holding.
Yeah, local county or something like that. And then everybody got upset. You had Finn Balor's like, "Don't you ever talk like that again." So yeah, that's pretty much the end of that segment. Um, and then we moved on. That led to a tag team turmoil match. Now this was odd. This tag team turmoil match was odd because, and so I didn't know if it was just because Kevin Patrick sucks, or I didn't know it was because Kevin Patrick sucks, or if this was a legit thing. But he kept saying that this turmoil match was to determine the number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team titles. And I was asking myself, why is he saying Raw Tag Team titles? They are the Universal Tag Team champions.
Well, yeah. Hopefully it makes sense now.
Yeah,
But Kevin
because
does suck. He said
yeah,
something
he does.
stupid. I can't. I must not have written it down. But he said just something ridiculous.
Oh, speaking of, you want to talk about how he sucks? Let's shit on Kevin Patrick a little bit more. So during the solo match, Solo hit the spinning solo, his finisher, and you have Kevin Patrick just sitting there, all calmly saying, "Oh, and Solo with the Uranagi," and
Oh,
then Corey Graves got, "No, that's the spinning solo." Like you, great. Now you've undersold his move.
yeah.
Like you geek. And I can't believe he does. Him and Corey, they do like an After the Bell podcast. Like, who would want to hear that voice for 3 hours?
Not me.
But yeah, they. I didn't know if it was because he sucked, but now it makes sense. But now then it also still doesn't make sense because it even makes less sense now that they were competing specifically for the Raw tag titles, and then on SmackDown it was announced that they're going to be doing a tournament for the SmackDown tag titles.
Right. Why doesn't that make sense?
So, because they're undisputed tag champions.
No, I'm
So,
okay.
are they splitting? Are they just nonchalant, like, just, oh, by the way, we split the titles. So, there you go.
Yeah, my problem is right is they won both belts, so whoever beats them should get both belts. I don't understand why you would segregate them like that. I mean, I do understand that, but you made this bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And are they just like, oh, let's just hope they don't, they don't notice.
The only way it would make sense to me at this point is if you had them vacate the title somehow. So then you do a tag or you do a tournament for Raw and then a tournament for SmackDown. But
Yeah. And
at
I
this
asked
point,
myself, is this like, are we getting, um, like, are they going to lose one of these matches so that we could, and that's how you split the titles?
they might. But then again, who are they going to lose to?
I don't know. You can run an interference.
I guess.
I would, I would guess of the two, you would want them to lose the Raw titles so that they're not, so that, because Roman, before he was undisputed, he was SmackDown, and kind of, you can argue he still is SmackDown.
Yeah.
So, if anything, you want him to lose the the Raw part of it. So then to keep them all together, then you'd want them to lose the Raw. Oh, and they were SmackDown too before. So I guess I could have led with that, but but there you go. Because they're all SmackDown, so I guess you want to get the Raw titles off of them. But
I also don't
I
think
don't know if
they
you.
have a deep enough bench in their tag division to have two, separate categories like that.
Well, they don't, but
I don't know. It just
I
all
don't know.
seems kind of
There's
jumbled together and weird. Like the Judgment Day, I don't know. I'm not excited for that, but
well, I was just saying it's weird that they just nonchalantly threw out, "Oh, this is for the Raw tag
right. No,
titles,
I'm with you
not
there,
both."
100%. Like whoever beats the Usos should get both sets of belts. Again, the only way for them to lose both belts like that would be to vacate them. So, like have them in, I don't know, but they both get injured or something.
Yeah, and also Usos shouldn't really be losing until this whole storyline is coming to an end.
Right.
And of course, and then you got if they do lose, like let's say they lose the Raw titles, now you got all those people who wanted the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to be the one to take them down.
Mm-hmm.
I never agreed with that, but you got those people, so
Right.
they would have wasted that opportunity too, if that's gonna happen.
Yeah. If they, like, what are they going to wrestle for? Bragging rights? Which is weird. Yeah. I'm with you
Yeah,
there.
there's got to be a title involved to end this.
All right. So after, well, that's it. That's Raw. Raw sucked. Raw was a piece of shit
Yeah, and if we weren't clear, Judgment Day won this turmoil match, so they get the chance to face the Usos.
for the Raw
I
belts.
think for the Raw titles only,
Yeah,
and I believe that takes place next week on Raw.
I believe so. Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's it.
All right. Next, that brings us to
We move on
SmackDown.
to SmackDown.
And we open up with Braun Strowman versus Gunther. And my wrestling boner was immediately fulfilled. It was great.
And I was immediately let down. Not not over the match, the fact that we opened with a match.
Why would you
I'm
be
like,
let down?
it's like, we're already going into bangers.
Oh, I liked it.
I thought we could put the bangers on hold and get some sports entertainment in real quick.
I just appreciated how for once SmackDown didn't open exactly like Raw did.
Hmm.
So that was good. But yeah, so Strowman and Gunther they started off. It's for the Intercontinental title. I was kind of apprehensive about this match, um, not because of Gunther or Strowman, but because of the way they kind of had Gunther interact with Strowman up to that point. Because they had him run
Afraid of him.
away and just kind of made him out to be a bitch. Then their last interaction, he quote unquote almost dislocated his shoulder. So, I mean, it was kind of up in the air how they were going to treat it. So they started off really slow, which was great. They're circling around each other. Gunther's Gunther's aiming for the arm, the injured arm that he almost dislocated, and he's looking for an advantage. And finally, he grabs onto the shoulder and he just starts beating the shit out of that arm. And that's pretty much the entire match. He gets an advantage and he just wears him down through getting him on the mat and then impact moves on that arm. At some point, Imperium came out for some reason, and they did interference. They actually had a couple of shots on Strowman, but it didn't do anything. And he
Yeah,
hit
they
both
interfered, but it was really minimal.
right, and they just disappeared. And the match went on for like what, 5, 10 more minutes?
Yeah, I don't even know if you can count that as a like,
Yeah,
you know, it's like did they really interfere? You had plenty of time to recover from that. As a matter of
right.
fact, you went back on offense after that. So
And quite a bit of offense too. So yeah, I just wish they didn't do that. They could have made yeah. Gunther didn't need it, obviously. I don't understand how Strowman is over at all. The crowd was really into him. I know he was in his hometown and stuff, but like he's usually pretty cheer heavily.
yeah, the guy's definitely over. It's crazy.
Yeah. Um, these guys like laid it in pretty thick. There was a couple clotheslines where Gunther, it looked like he just decapitated Strowman. Like you just hear this. It's like tree branches just breaking. It's great. I think Gunther looks really weird doing aerial moves. He did a splash, and then he tried to do something else that was thwarted. Gunther took advantage of Strowman's injured arm in the corner of the ring, and he turned that into a super power bomb from the top turnbuckle. It was really awkward. It was probably like if
Boy,
I
was it awkward.
if I had any complaint about the match, really would be that. But he still won. He being Gunther, and I think it was easily the match of the week.
Well, good, good. Um, I also enjoyed the match. I loved how they told the story of Braun Strowman is the big, strong, fast Braun Strowman,
Mm-hmm.
but Gunther is the professional wrestler, and
Right,
he's pretty much picking his spots and out wrestling Strowman.
right.
So they told a great story there. I think this was easily, it might be like, mm, maybe well, let me say what I want to say, then I'll say. So this is easily Braun Strowman's like one of his best matches. I was gonna say it might even be his best match that he's done. I guess the only other one you could argue with it would be like his Brock Lesnar match. Um,
When did he wrestle
but to
Brock
be,
Lesnar?
um, this was before the release.
Really? I didn't know he wrestled Brock.
Yeah, yeah, he wrestled Brock at a pay-per-view. I forgot what one it was. I think it was Fastlane or something.
Huh.
Um, they actually, I think maybe now they're cool, but they actually like really got in a fight in that match apparently
Interesting.
because Strowman hit Lesnar too hard or something, and then
Wait,
Lesnar
wait, wait.
returned the favor.
I thought you said Gunther.
Did I say Gunther?
Yeah.
No, I was saying Strowman.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, that was a Raw match. Strowman, uh, Brock Lesnar was on all fours. Strowman was hitting him with knees, and he actually hit him for real with one. And Lesnar immediately gets up and hits him in the side of the head. He says, "Slow the
Yeah,
fuck down,"
yeah.
and then he F5s him.
So maybe they've come back for it. But there was a pay-per-view match that they did, Strowman
Yeah.
and Lesnar,
Okay.
and this might outside of that, this might be I'm sorry, Strowman's best match. I'd have to watch that match again to determine really, but just say it's top two of his best matches of his total his career.
I'd say yeah. I mean, but I think that's 100%. because of Gunther.
Yeah. And again, the like you said, Imperium, they came out to interfere. They didn't really need to, and the finish was not the best. That's because Strowman's a big
He's a big dude.
dude.
I'm sure he's
So
heavy too.
yeah, so you can imagine power bombing him is probably not the best, easiest thing to do. I think it was. I was surprised because um, remember I had said last week that there's no way they're obviously not going to do the power bomb finish because Gunther can't power bomb Strowman.
Well,
So they found a way around that.
you were partially right. I thought it was a great match. I look
But yeah,
forward to
this
seeing
was
Gunther every week. I
yeah, this
don't
was
think I've made
definitely
that
a
a
great
secret.
match. Yeah, right. Definitely a great match. And I think this kind of le- legitimizes Gunther's run.
A little bit.
Like,
He
you know,
even
this
said
is like,
it was his strongest opponent to date,
yeah,
which
like, yeah, you can beat Ricochet. Yeah, you beat Ricochet and you beat
Rey
whoever else you beat,
Mysterio,
but now you've beat Braun Strowman. Now you're starting
Sheamus,
to, yeah,
which Sheamus gives him credibility. I think Sheamus gives him more credibility than Strowman.
that's true. But, you know, it's just another piece of making it like a legit run.
Right.
Um, and it was also at that point, speaking of it being a legit run, because I know we're getting kind of close to the end of him being the Intercontinental Championship, so or champion, so that we can get him into the main event picture. But I don't know who they picked to beat him. Um, you know, like I don't know who they build up to beat him like that. But that's another conversation for another day.
He wins
Strowman actually.
he wins
Hmm,
the World Heavyweight Championship, and then he's forced to vacate the IC title. Easy.
I don't think that'll happen.
Probably not. He'll probably get
Maybe
beat
he.
by he'll get beat by Rhea Ripley.
I'm glad you said that. I am glad you said that. You reminded me of something. So the WWE's YouTube channel,
Yeah.
you know how everybody's doing like predictions,
Uh huh.
2023 predictions. Well, the WWE's YouTube channel, they did one, and they're like 2020 predictions for the 2023 year. And the thumbnail was Rhea Ripley uh, walking to the ring, and around her waist is the Intercontinental Championship. So obviously they're saying, you know, their prediction is she wins the Intercontinental title. The only thing is the current champion would be Gunther. So if you put two and two together, that means she would have had to gone through beat Gunther to get that title. So there you
If that happens, we might be done with WWE for a while.
go. And that was the funny thing. I said when I saw that picture, I said, if that happens, there's no way we're gonna be able to continue covering wrestling. Like that's like I'm not even there. I can't even like defend that.
Well, let's
But you
just
know,
hope that that's clickbait.
of course. But it is funny that they did that
Yeah.
because I was like, that means she would have had to gone through Gunther to get that title.
Ugh.
Uh,
I heard he's gonna have a ladder match or something.
do what?
He's gonna have a ladder match or something.
For what?
His
To
belt.
lose his title?
Yeah. Maybe I was. I don't know. Maybe it was high or something. It's
No.
Whatever. It's so irrelevant now.
Uh, yeah. Okay, just the last thing I wanted to say on the whole Strowman thing is, um, yeah, it was his best match, and he also looked strong in the match, even in a loss.
Yeah, he
So
sure did. He
they
looked good.
protected him.
Like you said, it was easily his best match. Maybe, the Brock match, but Brock would make him look good too.
Especially if they were actually fighting. It makes it even more entertaining.
Well, no, it wasn't a fight. Fighting, fighting would be imply. Fighting would imply that there was a back and forth and an exchange of even blows. What it was Brock Lesnar hitting Braun Strowman upside his head and then F5ing him.
And I said, so let's say that did happen, right? Brock Lesnar clocked him upside his head.
He
It's like
did.
he could have, and to where in the clips I saw, to where he hit him like right behind the ear,
Yeah.
he could have knocked his ass out,
He kind
but
of
he
did.
didn't.
Like his knees buckled.
Yeah, but he didn't knock him out.
No, 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 not out cold.
So like, here is Brock Lesnar giving him his best shot, and he didn't knock him out. So there's
I don't
that.
think that was his best shot.
Well, I think it was a pretty good one.
I don't think so. I think that was essentially a love tap.
You know. Well, I always joke about fighting someone, and you and even like in boxing matches or UFC, like you get your best clean power hit off,
Yeah.
and the guy doesn't fall out. Like then where do you go from there?
Right.
like if you're about to fight someone, you catch them off guard, you hit them as good as you can, and they didn't go out, they barely moved back, and then you're like, oh shit.
Well, that's when you just, if it's boxing, you just get on the ground. That's it.
And if it's a real fight, you just ball up in the fetal position
Right.
and you say, okay, and get down. Please, not in the face. I have a I have picture day tomorrow, not in the face, please.
All right. So what? After that, we get Sammy and Paul Heyman backstage. We find out that the rest of the bloodline is not in attendance, which I was kind of relieved because that meant that the bloodline wasn't going to be smothering the entire show this week. I thought that was really refreshing. I'm kind of oversaturated with the bloodline.
Them essentially doing the same thing on both shows.
Right, and they're in every single segment.
Hmm.
Roman said, what kind of love would he be showing Sammy if he didn't let him handle Owens all by himself? Which kind of seemed a little shady. Sammy told Heyman to call Roman and let him know he made the right call. He said he's going to solve the Kevin Owens problem tonight. And this is not a prediction, it's a spoiler.
Yeah, and then he's like, "See what I did there?"
Yeah.
And then as he leaves, you see the look on Heyman's face,
Yeah.
like a look of disgust.
It's kind of weird.
I think they're kind of fast tracking this whole thing.
Yeah.
Or not fast tracking, but
It's
getting to
escalating.
an end.
Yeah. The crescendo. So after that, Rey Mysterio is in the ring, or he came out, or can't remember. He talked about Dominic ruining Christmas. He talked about Dominic being an ex-con. He said as a father, it breaks his heart, and as a man, he's fed up with this shit. And then he says he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Karrion Kross then interrupts. He brings up that Ray won the Royal Rumble 17 years ago. He brings up Dominic, says Royal Rumble must have been special for Dominic since he doesn't know. But he doesn't know because Ray wasn't around. And then he asked Ray who he hates more, Dominic for not growing up to be just like him, or himself for Dominic not growing up to be just like him, which I was kind of confused on that.
Oh, because he was asking, like, is it is it Dominic's fault that he didn't grow up like Rey Mysterio, or is it Ray's fault that he didn't raise Dominic to be like him? Because he just said he was an absent father.
Oh, okay. I thought he was asking if he's upset that he didn't grow up to be like you, or if he's upset that he did grow up to be like him. Just okay. Your way makes more sense. Maybe I just misheard. So that caused Ray to attack Cross. Scarlett then gets the upper hand by tripping Ray. Cross then gets him in the Cross jacket. Cue the red mood lighting for carrying Cross. And
Which was weird that it just like all of a sudden popped up.
right. Yeah. I didn't like it. But Cross was left standing tall. And I gotta say, I'm not really feeling the Rey Mysterio carrying Cross thing.
Well, I would say up until this point, it's been one-sided. It's been all
True.
Cross talking about Mysterio. Mysterio's not really talked about Cross in any
Right.
way.
Well, I think isn't this the first time he's come back as a because the last time we saw him, he was in a boot.
Yeah, he was injured, so this is
Okay.
it's just coming off of injury. But
Right. All right. So I skipped whatever the backstage segment was because Liv Morgan was there. So take it away.
um, so you have Liv Morgan, Maxine Dupree, Maxine Dupree. Um, who else was back there? Emma was back there. They're asking her, "Why do you?" This is for my other part of the Royal Rumble thing. So, why do you want to be number one? Don't you want to be number 30? Talking to Liv Morgan about why she wants to be number one in the Royal Rumble so she can throw out 29 other women. And in walks Raquel Rodriguez Gonzalez, whatever her name is, and she says she basically says that Liv Morgan, because she's so small, wouldn't last being at number one. Number 30 is more a number for her. So coming in at the end of the Rumble instead of the first in the Rumble, she's like, um, "I'm some I could go number in at number one and run the table."
She's got a
We
point.
then
She just did the gauntlet match.
she did one arm too.
Yep.
Um, she then this was kind of funny. So Liv Morgan, she said, "I just got my palm read this week. You want to see what it says?" And she holds out her palm. Rodriguez looks at her palm, and then Liv slaps the shit out of her.
Okay, that is kind of funny.
And she slapped her good too. And then she said, "How about a match?" And then that led to a match.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
But
I know that because I skipped right through that.
issue number two with this whole Royal Rumble thing going on. Why? So, number one, we have people just declaring themselves. And number two, are we now having people pick their number? Like, why are we even talking about Liv being number one if it's a random thing? And I know she's saying she wants to be number one, but why are we keep mentioning that unless she is going to end up being number one? And then if she is number one, now you've ruined part of the whole Royal Rumble experience is like not knowing what number anybody gets unless it's one of those stories where like you're going in at number one and you better win the Royal Rumble or you're fired.
There's been plenty of times you knew who number one was at least.
Well, you found out that night, like when they do the little ball thing, which I hope they bring back. They haven't been doing that, but I hope they do it this year. I'm gonna hope until they do it again. But like you
What?
found out that night, or you found like some years they would do the match thing where like the winner of the match gets number 30 and the loser gets number one or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've done that a couple times, but you know, X out those two things, random luck, and essentially a qualifying match. You're just having this person pick their number.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but we've had. My thing is that we've had situations where we knew who was number one at least, or who was last. I agree with you that
Yeah.
her just calling her shot. The only thing I can say to justify it is it's the women's Royal Rumble match, and who really gives a shit?
Well, I'd say last year the women's one was better, but
That's not a really high bar, though.
well, I know you don't like the Royal Rumble, but
Yeah,
I do.
that's my least favorite match.
I do the randomness, like the countdown, who's gonna come out next, who's gonna win, who's gonna who's gonna main event WrestleMania, and point up at the sign and the fireworks go off, which is a cheesy thing, but
I don't know. I just think it's a clusterfuck until like maybe the last four people.
well, I like certain spots in the Royal Rumble, like the like when you have the Soul Survivor guy who's just running the table,
Yeah,
like that Stone Cold
yeah.
year or CM Punk year, he did it. Um, I like that. I like although they're seeming to do it more now, coming out at number one and winning the whole thing. Like that used to be a special thing, but now they're doing it too much. Because I believe Edge did it too when he came back from his little injury.
Oh, did he?
Well, not little. Yeah, it wasn't a little injury. I
Right.
didn't mean it like that, but when he came back from his injury, he did
Sure.
it too. So now they're kind of doing that spotlight candy now, but it used to be special when it was only Shawn Michaels and Benoit, I believe, were the no, and Ray. No, I don't think Benoit did it. Shawn Michaels and Ray were the only two, I believe.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels, I remember because they made a big deal about it. He must be so exhausted.
Yeah, he was the first,
Yeah.
and then I think Ray did it too.
Didn't Stone Cold?
No,
No.
um, yeah, that was just the other thing about the the Royal Rumble. Like, why are we picking numbers now?
He wasn't number one when he was the final four when he had the deal with Brett.
No, I believe he came out with. I think that one he came out number three.
Okay. Okay. I'll drop it then.
Yeah, I think he. I'm pretty sure he came out number
I
three.
wanna remember it the way I'm remembering it so bad. I did enjoy
But
the
yeah, that
year
was the last
where
thing.
Big Show and Kane were running the table. They were just knocking people out and just dumping them over the top of the rope.
Yeah.
That was good shit. Um, anyway, moving on, we get Xia Li versus Tegan Nox. Now, I thought Xia Li with the Kung Lao hat was really cool. Without it, she just kind of looks ridiculous. She looks like she's just performing.
She looks very. She looks like an anime character. Um,
I don't know. She reminds me of like Cirque du Soleil or some shit. Just very theatrical.
yeah, and
Um, Tegan Knox won for some reason. So, bully for her. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it.
well, if you had watched this match, it only went like 2 minutes, so there you go. And so there's a Vinceism for you, a 2 minute women's match,
I'm not mad
and
at that.
that was pretty much the gist of it. When Nox won, she acted surprised that she won the match. This was weird.
Okay.
Like she hit her finisher, and then the ref counting three, and she puts her hands up like, "Really, I won? Like, you hit your finisher.
Well,
Wouldn't you
I
think that
mean,
would win you the match?"
if you've been paying attention, finishers don't really do shit.
uh, that was two, and then the other, the only other thing is a couple weeks ago, Xia Li cost her a tag team title match,
Okay.
and this match you wouldn't, if you were to watch this match.
They never mentioned it once.
Well,
Or
commentary mentioned it,
did they?
but
I don't remember
yeah,
them mentioning it.
well, they kind of mentioned that Xia Li was tired of people coming back and skipping in line or
Okay.
something. Um, so they mentioned that, but the with the way these two wrestled this match, you wouldn't have thought that, one was mad at the other for something.
Sure. Yeah, it was just a match.
Like they no sold that pretty much. It's like
Yeah.
it's almost like they have dropped this whole storyline. Like they did it one week and then now it's just like, we're gonna go in a different direction.
They seem to do that with quite a few things. Like, remember when Liv Morgan was a Mick Foley?
Well, she kind of still is.
No, she's not. She's just there. She ain't no hardcore icon.
No, she didn't. Well, the match you skipped between her and Rodriguez, she pulled out a table and she was
Oh.
gonna put Rodriguez through the table.
Oh, so now she's back to doing that shit again?
Yeah.
See, they keep they pick it up, they drop it. Ugh, so
And
inconsistent.
I didn't even look ahead, but I know you skipped that match.
Of course I did.
So,
Huh.
but yeah, they did. They're trying to do that, and they mentioned this is not even a hardcore match, so or this is not a no DQ match, so if she puts her through the table, she's disqualified. So I don't know what she's doing.
All right. Um. So yeah. So after Xia Li and Tegan Knox, we get a rundown of the Viking Raiders. I guess they attacked Sheamus and Drew McIntyre after their match with the Usos last week. So I guess they're feuding now.
Yeah, off air.
Right. McIntyre and Sheamus are still doing their stupid little slap thing, which that was old the first time they did it. I don't know, the fact that it's a thing now. Just I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. And I still don't understand why Sheamus isn't tagging with Mouthpiece, McFinger Bang, or the other guy.
Rich Holland.
Yeah,
I mean, they haven't even been on TV. So
yeah. Like that's his team. So I don't. That's his little gang. Why are you going to bring in an outsider?
I don't know.
It's just weird
Maybe
to
they're
me.
maybe they're getting away from the whole Brawling Brutes thing. Because we got the Banger Bros now. So
Mm, maybe.
oh, now now everybody in the industry has caught up to what Banger Bros are. If you would have listened to us, we told you that last week. It's like, oh, you guys really gonna play like you don't know what that is? It's like, oh, apparently the Banger Bros are
A
like
naughty.
apparently, yeah, it's not something you wanna look up.
All right. So after that, or anything else you want to add about Sheamus and McIntyre?
Nah, they're the Banger Bros.
All right.
We set up that, or in that segment, we determined that they were going to do a tournament for
Oh, that's
the
right.
SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So even further solidifying that, I guess we're splitting the titles possibly.
Possibly.
Um,
Either that or they're making it more interesting. I don't know.
yeah, but that fills in the blank from Raw on why they were saying the Usos are defending the Raw titles. Um, Now, I do go back to, and remember I said this, and I guess no one else in the community is picking this up. Remember I said in the Royal Rumble that graphic said gets a shot at a title. It didn't say the undisputed title. It said a title. So
Hmm.
might be the same thing happening with the world title situation too.
From what I understand, they are trying to find a way for them to have both titles on WrestleMania. So that might be it.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we're getting away from that.
Yep.
Their big grand scheme was just to hope no one noticed.
Which again, that seems to be their mo. Like, oh, don't know what else to do. Let's just change it and hope nobody says too much,
Yeah.
or they forget about it real quick. Yeah. Anyway, so Bray Wyatt comes out. The rocking chair is back. He says he's the eater of worlds. He's Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt. It's a lot of hats. He says
It is a lot of hats.
yeah, Royal Rumble will be his true rebirth. I like that he calls LA Knight son. Oh, we'll get you, son.
I like when he does his little hey man. Let me tell you something, man.
When he starts talking like Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the little spooky clip at the end of his promos is back. The little did it. This is great. I like it. That's really all I have to say about it.
Um I don't really have anything to add on this actually.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. I'm all about my sports entertainment, but I didn't really there's really not much to to add other than what he said. So
There you go. So
we're
after
almost there. That's all I'll say is we're almost there to to see what this final form is going to be. You know, I'm not even one of those like you. Oh, he needs to wrestle. I'm okay with him not wrestling. I am waiting for the reveal of what exactly is going on, like the direction of what this is all going towards.
It's going towards Alexa Bliss. That's all you fucking need to know. It's going to be awful.
There you go. For you.
All right. So after that, we get Owens and Sammy backstage. Sammy says, Owens, why couldn't you just stay on Raw? And then Owens says Roman's using Sammy. And then I skipped whatever Liv Morgan was involved with. I'm assuming that's the match she brought up earlier where she jumped through the table.
Yeah. Okay. It was Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez. Rodriguez won. This match was oddly more competitive. I mean, it was like 4 minutes, so take it with a grain of salt. But it was more competitive than when Rodriguez had one arm in the gauntlet match. So
there you go. See,
but
this
there was
is like whoever fucking is agenting these matches or whoever is coming up with how these matches are done, they never fucking think about stuff like that. Like, she was just in a gauntlet match, one armed, and she took on, including Liv Morgan. She took on the top competitors in her division. Or wait, I think Xia Li took out Liv Morgan. Never mind.
well,
but still,
I mean, you would have to think it's kind of hard to build. I don't know. You're trying to get you, you have to fill TV time. If all this stuff goes like a real how it really should, then you have like I don't know 20-second matches. What are you doing in the rest of the 3 hours or 2 hours?
more matches. Or
Then
you
you have
don't,
way too many matches.
or you don't book matches where the one person should stomp the shit out of the other person.
Well, then you're wasting good pay-per-view ready quality matches. That also needs proper build because you can't just throw them out there and just like, oh,
No,
here
you
you
would
go,
just you'd have
enjoy.
people that would put on a good show in a feud as opposed to just two dudes.
Well, and you also have to. The wrestling season never takes a break, so you also have to book year round. So at some point, there's only so many legitimate guys to feud.
Well, that's their fault.
So you got to have filler feuds.
That's their
And
fault for having the Damian Priest instead of the, I don't know, whoever's better than Damian Priest.
I mean, like to go against what you said. Like let's look. UFC. You have um. Oh, I'm not talking about UFC today, but because I don't watch it today. Let's go back a little bit, right? When the UFC was at it, like its biggest time, you had like Chuck Liddell, GSP, George St. Pierre, um, and then even a little bit after that, you got Anderson Silva and Conor McGregor. And anytime you put them on a card, those are your biggest cards. But you couldn't have them on every card. Like at some point, you're gonna have to put Mighty Mouse versus someone, or someone else versus someone else. You couldn't always do UFC this week or this month. UFC is gonna be Conor McGregor.
Well, that
Next
would be
month,
when
UFC is going to be Conor McGregor again.
that would be UFC, 40 that happens to be in like Boise, Idaho or some shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying you couldn't always you can't have like you only had so many legitimate guys, and you can't just always have them out there. You got to fill your Mighty Mouse Johnsons and uh, Forrest Griffins.
But they're not doing that. They're putting the Davids with Goliaths, and they're having like both of them
Well,
wrestle equally.
I guess it's going to be different there because UFC has the weight thing.
Well, there's that, yeah. I don't know. Where do we leave off?
Uh, I think we were at Raquel. Oh yeah, yeah, the Raquel and the Liv match.
Okay.
We had just finished that. So then we go to Gunther. He's backstage. Basically, just
He's in the Royal
says
Rumble
that
too.
he's in the Royal Rumble. Another guy just declaring himself. Now, you can get away with that one a little bit because he is the Intercontinental Champion, but you know, Ricochet. And then they had the audacity to say there was even a graphic, and they said they were talking about, oh, look at the men who have. It's a star-studded Royal Rumble with all the people who've declared for the Royal Rumble. And then you have Ricochet on that graphic. It's like, he didn't. He qualified. He didn't
Right.
declare himself. Like you can't even keep up with your own thing.
Well, that's no shock.
I guess that's where we were. That's what I was. That's the point of the UFC thing.
All
You're
right.
booking week to week, 365 days, or 365 week to week. It's hard to book logically through that whole thing, I guess.
Well, it's even harder when you don't try.
Well,
I'd be more forgiving if they tried, but they don't. They don't even remember what they said the week before.
well, to be fair, we barely do too.
Well, that's because it sucks.
Yeah. Like you had to go back and look look at what was last week's show because you couldn't remember it.
Right. All right. So after that, we get Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce. Sonya wants a rematch with Sharface. Pearce says he can't just go ahead and give Sonya a rematch because she just lost. And I have to ask, since fucking when? Like, that's all they do is rematches. I don't fucking understand that at all.
Yeah, it both made sense and it didn't make sense. It
Right.
made sense because that was the
That should
right
be
thing
how
to
it
say.
is.
Yeah, but it didn't make sense because they
Because
never
that's not
do.
how it is.
Yeah, like how do you
So,
pull off that?
so cut to the inevitable Sonya and Charlotte brawl. It was awful. Um, Charlotte hits a spear that was just slow and awkward. The people involved in the pull apart were awful. At one point, you can clearly see one of the guys just kind of holding the other guy's back, giving Charlotte and Sonya more space while they were doing their shit. They kept doing this thing where Sonya would do the Chucky thing where she would get knocked out and then she would come back. She did it a couple of times and everybody looked stupid because like there was a couple of times where you could tell that the security was clearly looking at her. And Charlotte was stupid because she let it happen more than once.
Yeah, and I guess this is how we get the
The rematch.
rematch.
Yeah. I just
Um,
I didn't like it.
I didn't either. I wasn't a fan of it, but uh, I would say I guess I guess it's a good. I'm trying to think of how I want to say it. It's a good thing that Sonya Deville's finally getting something on TV. Because I think her run as the general manager, she was getting herself over as a major heel. They
Hmm.
never really capitalized on it, so I guess it's good. Because you can see that when she comes out, she actually gets a reaction from the crowd.
Yeah.
Unlike you a lot of the roster. So I'm about putting out anybody who gets a reaction, and she gets a reaction. So yeah, that's the fact that she's getting TV time. I guess it's good. Um, Looks like we're just biding our time until the Royal Rumble, so we can get our WrestleMania things.
All right.
We're gonna have to we're gonna have to do like an official Royal Rumble show, like a prediction show, so that we can see
I keep
who.
wanting to do that, but I just the uh, the pay per views kind of sneak up on me. So whenever I think it's the week before, it happens to be the week that the pay per view's on. So I never
Oh,
I never think like I think about it, but it's always too late.
oh. Well, the
Cause I
Royal Rumble's in 2 weeks, so we would
yeah
have to do it next week.
okay
So there's that. Let's talk shop over the air
yeah.
here. But um, I don't even know what I'm saying. Next segment,
Next segment. That brings us to our main event: Sami Zayn versus Owens.
and this was a good match.
It was. It was
It
really
was
good.
a banger. It's one of those bangers.
It was almost
When I
better
saw,
than the Gunther and Strowman match until the end. So, but the way it started, Kevin Owens, he as he's walking to the ring, he looks in the camera and he asks Roman if he's watching, which I thought was a nice little touch. Owens goes for a handshake. Sami ain't having it. Kevin Owens ripped up a fan sign. Did you notice that?
I did not catch that.
Yeah, there's a part where they're outside and this fan shoves a sign in Owens' face, and then Owens just rips it from them and tears it up. Which, not very
Well, that
face
fan
like,
probably
but in
crossed the
his.
line.
What's that?
I said that fan probably crossed the line then.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, in fairness, the fan did shove the sign in his face. Like, it was directly in his face, so I would have done the same thing probably. Yeah, but yeah, it was really good. Like, very nasty. Like, at one point, they were grabbing each other's beards, they were slapping each other, they were hitting each other. Um, yeah, it's a great match. Unfortunately, the hair in the soup was the bloodline coming out to interfere and cost Sammy the DQ win. Which one, the bloodline's not supposed to be there, so where the hell have they been all night, right? Sammy, of
This
course,
was
is
the. Go ahead.
yeah. Sammy's confused. It sounds like it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it was the beginning of the end. But this was that was the trick to make you think they weren't down or
Yeah,
they weren't there, and then oh, they showed up. Also, yeah, it was. I didn't quite understand the whole Sammy thing, um, because you can interpret that in like two ways. One, he didn't want to attack Kevin Owens, and that's why he was like looking, because they kept trying to get him to come in and help beat down Kevin Owens, and he wouldn't.
Well, just
So
a couple weeks ago, he stopped Sokoa Joe from going in the ring with a chair, and he wanted the chair, so he was going to do it. So I don't think he's opposed to. At least he wasn't 1 or 2 weeks ago.
yeah, so we have that, or um, option B is that it goes back to what Paul Heyman was saying, is the tribal chief says, you could, it's only fair for you to do this on your own, or what he was saying earlier. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he feels like this is your spotlight and you should do it on your own. And then they didn't do that. So that's what he was mad at, because he was about to, you could argue he was about to beat Kevin Owens. He was setting up for the haluva kick,
Yeah,
and
he was definitely
um,
in position at least.
yeah, and then they run in for the disqualification. It's like, you took my moment.
Right.
This was me. I was about to prove to the tribal chief, and he even mentioned when they were doing the beatdown, he's like, the tribal chief wanted me to do this, and
Like, it's for the
Jay was like,
bloodline.
he's like, it's cool, come on.
Yeah,
So
I didn't like the finish at all. Sokoa Joe puts Owens through an announce table. He ran like a girl on the barricade and then did a splash. And that was the end of SmackDown.
I'm liking Solo overall, but perhaps I have one little thing, one little nitpick. After every move, he like celebrates like he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Like, can we see? Like, he does the Samoan spike and he's all ah! Like, can we save that for like,
after he's incapacitated him.
or just save that for like high spots?
Yeah,
Like, he doesn't need to do that after every single hit.
yeah, I agree with you.
Like, maybe he does that a little too much. But overall, I like his presentation, and yeah, I like the finish that he put him through the table. I thought it was a pretty cool little spot. But
I
yeah,
didn't. I mean, I didn't like the run. Just uh, very weak.
well, I think he had to jump platforms, so that's why it looked like he was running like a girl or whatever you said.
That's what you said. That's what you just said.
You said that.
You just said it. We got it on. We got
I
it
was
on
repeating
videotape.
you.
Don't bring me into this, you bigot.
And what'd you say?
They ran like a girl.
There you go.
All right.
But
And
that
that
is
was
your.
yeah.
Mhm.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
That is your Raw and your SmackDown review. Um, Overall, like I said, or like we said, Raw pretty much sucked. SmackDown was a lot better. You could still argue that Raw was not as good because there was a dark cloud hanging over it, being that Vince McMahon had just come back.
Right.
But
I just
we
think
shall see.
I think SmackDown canceled that theory out personally.
Well, we will see. We have the this Monday. It will be opposed to the Bucks versus the Cowboys in a playoff game, so they're gonna have big competition against them there. Go Cowboys, by the way. Let's put that on the record. But on that note, let's get into the news.
Yay! Dun 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 dun.
Now we're gonna have to find some kind of thing that
Yeah.
does that. I'm not doing that for 5 views.
Hey, don't sell us short. We get about 20. 11 to 20.
Yeah, maybe on a clip do something like that, but anyway, where do we start off this news week? So, The Rock, of course, is we start off here. The Rock, of course, is rumored to be appearing at the Royal Rumble. I think I said that last week.
Yeah,
Well,
you did. Or you said it 1 week.
we've always known that it's like that's been the plan, Rock versus Roman. Um, but last week I talked about the Royal Rumble graphic and that there was lightning on it. Well, let me step back here. I the cretins of the internet pointed out that there was lightning on the Royal Rumble graphic and that it's a possible tease because The Rock is the most electrifying man. So I can't take credit for that. I'm merely just saying what the the internet saying there. But um, I guess more news stories have picked that up now.
Well, if it
So
turns
getting
out to be
listed on the
true, though,
show.
you could take credit for it.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just regurgitating what I heard, what people have said. Like I didn't put that together. I just I just saw the information and
And
regurgitated it.
do you think the 5 viewers would know any different if you said you did put it together?
Well, I don't want to take. I'm not trying to take credit, but you know, we're a big time corporation over here. We taking credit from people.
So I guess the real question is The Rock actually going to be in the Royal Rumble? Because the way it's worded is, um, he's just going to be at the Royal Rumble. I mean, you kind of common sense would kind of say like if he's going to be doing something through Roman, he'd have to be in the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah. So early predictions, if you look at those, is that The Rock is going to enter number 30 and win the Rumble. He is still the odds on. No, he's Cody is still the odds on favorite. If you look at the betting odds, Cody's the favorite, but Rock is second.
Yeah, see, and I'm more. I think that's more egregious than Liv Morgan saying she wants to be one.
That The Rock's going to be there or that he's going to win.
That he's going to be there. That he's going to win at number 30.
Well, I mean, he's not going to.
Who is he? Batista?
He's The Rock. He's not going to go in at like early and
Yeah,
run
he's
the
got to be
table.
number one and just take it.
You think The Rock can last that long? Not having wrestled in years?
I don't know. He does all them workout videos. If he can't last a Royal Rumble, he's a fraud. Joe Rogan's right.
Speaking of workout videos, you see Steve Austin put out another one.
Oh, did
Guy's
he?
got some guns.
Yeah, he does. He don't look like
It's
it,
like,
but then you see him work out, and you're like, oh, my shit.
yeah, he's got some 24-inch pythons on him there.
Yeah, it looks like he could rip your head open like a can.
But he's posting more videos, more than likely saying he's poised for also a WrestleMania appearance. But yeah, the early signs point to The Rock being number 30 um, and winning that way, and then that gets us to Roman Reigns.
Well, we'll look. Just have to see what happens when the Rumble. I mean, obviously, there's going to be surprise entrance, and I guess if you're going to introduce The Rock, this you could do worse ways of introducing him. I wish they could do better.
Right. And I still want to point out that poster that everybody's pointing out that has electricity on it. Brock Lesnar's still on that poster. No one's still mentioning that. Now that you heard here first.
I think, yeah, I still think um, Brock isn't going to win the Rumble.
Not exactly saying he will. I'm just saying don't be surprised if he does.
Yeah, he's not winning the Rumble.
Okay. Just saying don't be
You heard
surprised.
it here first.
You heard it here first. Do not be surprised if Brock Lesnar goes his ass out there and wins that Royal Rumble. Because that's what they do.
All right.
But anything else on? You got anything else for The Rock?
I think we've pretty much said all there needs to be said about him.
All right. Uh, next up, we're gonna save Mr. McMahon until the end.
All right.
Next up, let's talk about this Tony Atlas thing.
Oh man.
So Tony Atlas, I guess he made kind of headlines or whatever you want to call them
He,
because he posted a New Year's picture
it was a
of
video.
himself. Yeah, sorry, a video. Um, he posted himself laying on the ground and a woman standing over him.
Straight out of Waffle House.
Yeah, and she's hitting him in the face, and then she starts kicking him. Now these are light kicks, I guess, but
No,
she
no,
has her
no.
shoes.
The punches are light and steady. The stomps, there's some thuds.
Yeah, she does this with shoes on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he pops his head up and says, "Happy New Year."
Happy New Year. Because throughout the whole video, it looks like he's semi unconscious. It looks like this tiny this tiny white woman is beating down this black man. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tony Atlas is a WWE Hall of Famer. He was also in Georgia Championship Wrestling. He was a tag team and heavyweight champion there. He was also in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling as a heavyweight champion, and that was through NWA. With the WWE, he's most notable for being the first black tag team champion, along with Rocky Johnson. Modern fans may remember him from the Legends House on WWE Network. He was also Mark Henry's manager a few years ago. He also had issues with CM Punk and OVW. Now, for years, Tony Atlas has had a open foot fetish. There's been rumors that he pays women to wear heels and walk on his face.
Rumors
Yeah.
is pretty much what he just did on the video.
Well, that's getting stomped. I'm talking about he pays women to wear high heels and walk on his face.
Okay. So it's different than what we saw.
Technically, I
Like
mean,
they're putting like their whole weight on his face.
right.
Okay.
Allegedly. So the woman actually, the Waffle House woman, actually said nothing throughout the whole thing. She's punching and kicking, having the time of her life. Um, the caption, hashtag old school, can give it and they can take it. Hashtag tough, hashtag old, hashtag man, exclamation point, hashtag stomp, hashtag kick, hashtag punch. It's all in the mind and making me feel fine.
Uh-huh. So I didn't really understand what I was watching. And even until this day, I don't understand exactly what I saw. Like, when I first saw it, I thought it was like a chiropractor thing
Mm.
of some way. Like, oh, maybe his jaw's out of line or something, and she's doing some kind of thing to fix his jaw.
Nope,
So
nope.
that's what I thought it was. But then he, pops his head up and says "Happy New Year." I'm like, okay. um, and then I was like, well, was she dressed right then for maybe what we were watching?
That's
Like,
another
was
thing.
she
Like,
supposed to be wearing leather?
yeah, like she could have put some effort into it, like look a little bit more provocative. But no, she just looked like he just found her off the street. No effort.
Yeah,
She
from
didn't
Waffle House,
smile. No dirty
and he paid her
talk.
bill.
Just very, very disappointed for her. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I didn't exactly get what exactly all that was, but it
Well,
was funny nonetheless.
what you saw was a man living out his fetish publicly. Apparently, he likes to get embarrassed.
He wanted us to know that he likes this shit to happen to him.
Yes.
It's like, I need you to know this, that this happens to me, and I like it.
I have an erection right now, is what he said, without saying it.
Yeah.
Tell me you get aroused while getting stomped in the face without telling me you get aroused while getting stomped in the face. So, my question is, were the shoes the lady was wearing clean? Or does it matter?
I don't think it, I mean, no, they weren't clean. I can tell you that.
Because she
Because,
wasn't.
well, no, because at worst, she would have walked from the car to the house.
Unless he bought shoes specifically to get stomped in the face with.
Boy, that'd be taken it a little far. Like you got a you got a shoe closet.
Yep.
Because this is probably not a constant girl. This is just like a new girl that he brings in to do this to him.
Of course.
And he's like, "Oh, go ahead and pick you out some shoes. You can keep them when you're done." Guy's like a Foot Locker wall of shoes.
One of each size.
Yeah. Then they got it.
Let me check the
Just got the
back.
lady. Yeah, just got the. You got. Oh, I like these. You got these in the 8. Well, let me go check in the back and see if I got it in. I got a 7.5. What do you think? You think that we can make those work? No, that's too small. Maybe I can do an 8.5. Okay, let me go check in the back again. You want to try these? And then they go, he finds them. You want to try these on? I was like, yeah, they feel good. And then they're feeling the toe part, see where her toe is. All right, you gonna be able to step on my face in these? Are they comfortable to step on my face in?
In fact, why don't you walk outside? It just got done raining. Then stomp on my face. People are weird, man.
Definitely for sure. But I mean, if you got a kink, you got a kink. But do we need to put it out there for the world to see?
That's the world we live in now.
It's like I want everybody to know that I like this. I want you guys to see this in your dreams.
I want you to not be able to make eye contact with me.
Yeah, like imagine seeing him in person, and
No.
then that's what you know about him. Like that's what you're seeing.
He goes to shake your hand and you kind of bend over backwards away from it. No. I don't know where that's been. I've seen what you like done to your face. If you don't give a fuck about your face, you damn sure don't care about your hand.
Or I don't know, you sit him down and ask him questions. Like, so can you walk me through exactly what it is that, and like, how long does this go on, and what do you get out of it? Why don't you tell me that? Does it get you? Does it get you going for someone to be hitting you in the face, or like, what exactly are we accomplishing here?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot to unpack with that.
I don't know, but you got people who are into, you know, being dominated, I guess. Anyway, I think we've taken that about as far as we can take without going way too far into another topic. But yeah, there's your Tony Atlas thing.
There you go.
So, and that was on Twitter. If you want to actually go look at that, I don't know why you would, you freak.
Oh, I watched it about 50 times last night. I was laughing my ass off. Just his head going back and forth like a little one of them boxing bags.
Yeah. And why was he on the floor too?
Make
That
it
would be the
make
other
it easy
question.
to get stomped on.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about the stomp part.
That's the best part.
I'm still on the hand head or the soft punches part. But yeah, I guess if you're on the floor, it's easier to be stepped on. The fact that I have to say that sentence is just. But let's get into this, the big stories of the week. And I say stories because it's multiple stories, but it's all revolving around one topic, main topic. That is one golly, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, VCAM. So he's had quite the week of reclaiming power.
He's been busy.
He was, yeah. So I jotted down a little timeline here. So first, we have Stephanie McMahon. She announces that she is stepping down as CEO. She put out this nice little letter saying that she was basically going back into her, because when Vince McMahon left, she was on like a leave of absence, She basically put out the thing on Twitter, says she's going back to her leave. In fact, she's taking it further and completely stepping away. Um, this now, what I want to point out here real quick is that a few weeks ago, or I'm sorry, a few days ago, you had Stephanie McMahon when Vince McMahon came back, assuring everybody that nothing was going to change. And then here she is stepping down. So that's already a change. You're here telling people, oh, nothing's gonna change. Everything's gonna stay the same. Everything's gonna run the same. And then a few days later, by the way, I'm stepping out. So there's that change, but nothing else is gonna change. Keep like we assure you that nothing else is gonna change after this. Um, this also so to move forward, progress forward in the timeline. Um, a few hours I forget if it was before or after, but I put after. A few hours after this, there was also news that Vince McMahon had been unanimously,
Unanimously.
unanimously voted as executive chairman. So he's the chairman of the board, back where he was before. The big thing here was it being that it was a unanimous decision because, they were all against him not being back. And now they're like unanimously voting him. Um, the other question that I to couldn't seem to get answered was Stephanie in on that vote or had she resigned before then? That's why it was important to see if it was before or after that um because it makes sense if or it changes things if she wasn't. Now I guess I can go ahead and throw this in since we're here on it. So, from the reports, it looks like the the big thing of why Stephanie stepped down is that her and Triple H they oppose selling WWE, as in they don't want it to be sold, and Vince wants it to be sold, so there's like a disagreement there. I guess enough of a disagreement to where Stephanie McMahon didn't want to be with the company anymore.
It's kind of big.
Yeah. Um, so we get that news.
And
And
she's been
then
around the
we,
company forever, too. That's just astonishing that if this is the end of Stephanie in the WWE, that it would end like this.
yeah, and of course you got like speculation running wild, again on why she left.
Right.
It's like, did she leave because she doesn't want the company to be sold? Um, I don't know why she would leave if that's the case. Like that, that would just make it easier for him to sell because now there's less people opposing him on it. Or did she leave because the company is sold and she doesn't agree with who bought it?
Or did she leave because Vince wanted her out? Because remember, she was supposed to go on a leave beforehand, and then Vince's issues came out, and then she came back.
Right, because she was taken over.
So now Vince is back. Stephanie is expendable again.
I
So
mean, you would think you would hope that, it being his daughter, it wouldn't be that like I want her out. But it is possible that that is a thing.
if anybody would do it, it'd be Vince. Oh, she's not best for business.
Well, we go even further down this rabbit hole. Because I did mention that maybe she is opposed to who they're selling to, and that's why she's no longer with the company. So this happened on Thursday. I think was it Thursday? No, it was,
It was earlier in the week.
yeah. Tuesday, maybe?
Tuesday,
Yes,
Wednesday ish.
it was Tuesday.
Okay.
It was definitely Tuesday. Because it was like I've I saw it like right before NXT, and I was like, who cares about NXT? So we got this report on Tuesday that the WWE has been sold to the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Funds. Uh, what you need to know about that is just Saudi Arabia. They sold to Saudi Arabia, and that's going to be our WWE now. I mean, you had everybody who's anybody in the community covering this.
Yep.
Fightful, Wrestle Talk, um, the everybody put videos out saying WWE is sold to Saudi Arabia, except for all of the quote unquote journalists. They weren't saying anything yet.
They were waiting until the dust settled.
Excuse me. Yeah, they were saying we're gonna get confirmation on this before we tell you definitively that they've sold. And then you have the real journalists. They come out and basically squash it and said no, they're not sold. Ariel Helwani, he came out and said it. TMZ, they came out and said it. Like, no, they're not sold. So, when, but to say that it got so big that the big dogs had to come out and say, no, this is not true. That was just a weird thing to me.
Well, think about it though. This is huge. This is almost like if Disney were being bought by somebody. You know,
Yeah.
this is an institution.
I mean, they definitely are selling,
Yeah,
but
I think
um,
the thing is the belief is that they are going to sell to somebody that's going to let Vince still run the place. And also the belief is
well,
that Saudi Arabia is the just the ones crazy enough to let him do that.
apparently, yeah. So Saudi Arabia, they don't know enough about the wrestling industry to know that yeah that would be the best thing. Um, Apparently, like a couple years ago, they asked to have Yokozuna at one of the Saudi shows. So shows you how close they follow wrestling.
Or the access to the wrestling that they had. That was prior to the Crown Jewel stuff. So they've been into Crown Jewel for a few years now. I would assume that all the Saudi Arabia citizens that are going to be interested in wrestling are interested in wrestling now.
True, but you would think that, or that's the belief that they would be crazy enough to put Vince or keep Vince in charge. Um, so it seems like this whole thing for Vince is not about like the highest bidder, and it shouldn't be because he's made fistful of money, more money than he can spend before he's gone. So it's not about money for him. It's more seemingly about a power play, like who's going to keep me in control.
Right. At
I
least
saw,
outside looking in.
Yeah, I saw reports today that they were talking with, or they had a meeting with ESPN,
Oh, really?
and yeah, um, and apparently ESPN isn't on board with the whole working with Vince thing.
Of course.
So,
ESPN's
um,
Disney.
yeah, so they said if they do buy it, then yeah, Vince is gonna have to be out.
Right.
And of course, it's because it's at Disney. They're
They pretend to be
we
wholesome.
we talked we talked last week about what would happen if Disney
Right.
got WWE. WWE would have to change in their image.
Yeah, and
I
it
mean,
wouldn't be for the good.
it'd be good for Rhea Ripley. It'd be good for be good for Quincy Elliott.
Yep. It'd be good for Sonny Kiss too when he crosses over.
Yeah, Sonny Kiss is gonna leave AEW and come. It's like, I could be the world champion over there.
I could be myself.
They said they want to make me world champion to beat Roman Reigns in 30-second squash match. Um, another another name that has popped up as a potential buyer for the WWE is Khan. Yes, that Khan. Apparently, Daddy was going to, or there, Daddy is looking for some investors to for the Khans to buy WWE.
Yeah, I don't think that one's gonna happen.
Why not? I mean, I agree. It's not going to happen, but I want to hear why you think it's not going to happen.
Well, for one, I don't know. Like, I think at this right now, I think AEW is just a vanity project for Tony Khan. If he took over WWE, well, then you'd have like Fox's expectations, and then you'd have whoever Raw's on. You'd have their expectations.
USA,
Yeah, you have to do things their way. Is AEW private or public?
they're private.
So I mean, you can't run it your way. You have shareholders to answer to. Um, I mean, word on the street is they couldn't run their football club correctly. So I just and we don't know. Like, bottom line is how profitable AEW really is. Like, sure, they tell us like $1 million gates and stuff, but they also have like 1,000 wrestlers that they're paying.
True.
And I don't know. Tony Tony doesn't know how to handle AEW. There's no way he'd be able to handle WWE. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega would have all the belts.
Well, that would. I guess we're gonna keep fantasy booking this. That would be if he surely Tony Khan would understand that he's booking AEW, he's booking Rampage, he's booking Ring of Honor. Surely he would understand that he cannot also then go over and book WWE too. So surely he would just let them. I would say he's just the name on the building, but you let them run it how they run it. Of course, Vince McMahon would not be in that equation, so that's that's another reason, or that's one of my reasons he wouldn't do it.
Well, yeah, there's also
Um,
that.
my quick reasons is number one, Vince McMahon wouldn't let Tony Khan have the company. That's just he would never go for that
Why not?
because that's his competition.
Okay.
Like I would think he would let the company burn before he sold it to Tony Khan. He doesn't like AEW. He just doesn't. It would be like him selling to Ted Turner. Like, never would happen.
Okay.
Um, it also wouldn't be good for the industry as a whole.
No.
For one person to own all of wrestling, essentially, that's what got
Well,
us here in the first place.
yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of what's. Well, that and I mean, Vince is really the last of the old guard as far as like actual wrestling, even though like his product is the furthest thing from wrestling. It's still the closest thing to wrestling, which is very ironic. Um, Tony Khan, like I think Tony Khan, the only what he's demonstrated is that he can have like a niche product with a certain dedicated fan base. But as far as like a national global product, I don't know if AEW is that. I don't know if he knows how to do that the way Vince does.
Well, obviously, 4 years doing it versus 30 something years,
True.
probably longer, way longer than that.
And
So
there's
yeah,
also that advantage as well. But I mean, it's a I don't know. I think it's harder to maintain something like that than it is to get yourself there.
well, I would think surely his name would just be on the checks. But you let I don't know, you let Triple H run Raw or run WWE or something. Like, not necessarily creative wise, you don't like necessarily have to take over creative just because you bought the company.
Yeah, I think his ego's too big.
Um,
I think he'd have to be in the creative. He wants to be Vince McMahon.
well,
I know what you're
like
saying.
we both said,
The
it's
smart
never.
thing, the smart thing to do would be but the smart thing to do now would be to get somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing to write a cohesive show or to put together a cohesive wrestling program instead of just shit. But Tony hasn't done that with his own product for 4 years. He hasn't done that with Ring of Honor for what the year and a half that he's owned it. So if they take over WWE, he's just going to put that under his belt and do the same thing with that he's doing with his own shit. He's not going to get somebody separate.
Just another toy in his toy
Uh
box.
huh.
It would be crazy though,
I don't
but
think.
I don't think they're. I mean, if I had a, it seems from the outside looking in that Disney, unfortunately, would be your front runner
I would think Saudi Arabia.
or Saudi. Yeah, Disney or Saudi. Those seem to be your front runners. Um, and then the pipe frames are the other companies. Uh, and then the cons like way down on the totem pole.
Right.
It's like, yeah, your name's in the hat, but barely.
We'll listen to you, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Um, it's funny though that you mentioned creative because there's more to this thing. So those are the potential buyers, but um, we had a company-wide meeting on Friday, and in the company meeting, Triple H, and sorry, I'm just trying to pull it up real quick here. So in the company meeting, um, I'll just give you a summary. Triple H told the talent that he is still the head of creative, that is not going to change. He
Until Vince
then,
replaces him like he did in NXT.
yeah. Um, Now the funny thing is, he said, "Hey, I'm in control of creative." He then went on to say that, yeah, maybe Vince gives some inputs on creative, but he always defers to me. So why are you already saying that? Oh, he said I'm the guy. I mean, yeah, he talks to me about it. He tells me, there's some things he doesn't like. Yeah, but I mean, he lets me do it though. It's still mine. I was completely wrong last week. I said last week I said I wonder if it's going to be before or after WrestleMania, um, to when Vince takes over creative. It looks like we have. I was way off on that timeline. Now the question is it going to be before or after Royal Rumble? Because it looks like Vince is very, very close to taking over creative. And I just literally got through reading that Vince said, or Triple H said he's in charge of creative still. But to even be bringing that up means that we're closer than we should be
Right.
to Vince taking back over. Like the fact that you even have to say that already says that there's movement happening to it. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't want Vince to take back over creative. This all seems to be happening so fast.
It's happening so fast. Nothing's substantiated. I mean, obviously, they're not releasing their every move as to what they're doing. All we can do is speculate. Optics wise, head of the company comes back and he fires his daughter, who's been there forever. That doesn't look good. Doesn't bode well for the product. You got Triple H saying that Vince isn't going to be affecting creative, but at the same time going to be affecting creative. So maybe they don't know what's going on either. So I think once
Yeah, they're
once uh, once a sale happens, I think that's when the dust will start settling, and then they'll either remold into what they're going to be going forward, or they're going to readjust to who's having them on their platform.
yeah, and I just want to take the time to reiterate: don't be concerned so much as to who buys the WWE. As fans, we shouldn't really concern ourselves in that unless we're shareholders and we're getting paid something from that. What we should be concerned with is what happens to the TV product.
Right.
As long as it doesn't change, then should not be our concern. If it changes, now that's where you need to be concerned.
And
Like,
unfortunately, that if Vince isn't involved, it's not a good thing.
what I'm saying, that's part of it. So if company buys it to where Vince can still run it, then maybe we have something there. Um, I still say Vince though shouldn't be in charge of creative.
He shouldn't be.
Old Vince, old Vince, yes, but I'm sorry, like old as in like the previous Vince, yes, like Attitude Era, the guy who did that,
Right.
yes, but the guy who has just like spend weeks upon weeks running the same. I'm telling you, if it happens, it's literally week after like 6 weeks straight of the exact same show. Is what was happening when he was at the end there. Like week to week, the show was exactly the same, top to bottom. The only thing that would change would be like some of the promos in and out, but like the gist of the promos would be the same. All the matches were the exact same. So yeah, and it would happen for like 6 weeks straight.
Hmm.
So I hope that Vince doesn't get back control of creative because yeah, seeing the same match. Can you imagine doing the show and talking about the same match 6 weeks in a row? It's like
I feel like that's what we do now.
Well,
How often has Owens wrestled the Usos?
well, that's different
Okay.
because it changes each week. Like he has a different opponent, or I'm sorry, different partner.
Well,
But can you imagine?
there's chaos in the beginning. Owens comes out to settle it down. Then a match happens.
Okay. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
So I don't know. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see, like everybody else.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. Um, I guess our final little story, the funny one. So, M MJF, he posted a picture of himself holding up a plaque for, I believe, Wrestler of the Year. And in the picture, he taped over, or maybe it was Match of the Year. Is he the Wrestler? Hold on, let me get this up. This is important to the story. Oh yeah, feud,
Most
feud.
hated and feud of the year.
Yeah, so he was holding a plaque for feud of the year, and in the picture, he's holding up the plaque, and he taped over CM Punk's name and put MJF's his own name. So if you can imagine that, he has a plaque that says feud of the year, and it's MJF versus MJF because he taped over CM Punk's name. Now, of course, people you can take that many ways because it's MJF. So could have just been MJF being his prick self, as in he's always in character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or you could take that as, oh, he's covering up CM Punk's name because they don't want to mention CM Punk. I guess that's what you could take it as. Well, Punk replied, and he put as his comment, maybe find some tape for the rating so nobody sees those either. So he took a shot at the AEW rating. Why did he take a shot at the rating? Because AEW failed to pull a 1 million rating this week, with everything seemingly in their favor. They had the news that the WWE was going to sell to Saudi. That news broke. They were doing a debut show at the LA Forum in Los Angeles. They were teasing that Sasha Banks was going to be at the show, so they had all this working for them, and they still failed to pull 1 million. So that is why Punk took a shot, and he knows that he knows that Tony Khan, um, it's a sore thing for him to talk about ratings. So that's why he took a shot at the ratings.
Well, good for him for still speaking up.
Yeah, and I don't know if this whole thing is a work or not. I don't know, but it's if it's not a work, it's it was it was still funny that he said maybe find some tape to put over the ratings. But I also think um, MJF was just like to go back to that. I think MJF was just being him, like his character. It's like I'm not giving anybody credit. I was the best feud, like me versus myself. Like it could have been anybody's name. I don't think it was necessarily because it was CM Punk's name that he did it. I think he was just being his character. It could have been anybody's name, and he would have done the same thing. Just my thoughts. Do you have any? Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. I was just asking because I thought it. I unplugged the thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. No, I mean, you pretty much said it all.
Not much you could add to that.
Not really. I mean, I see Punk being petty enough to be serious about it, but I can also see it be some sort of storyline. Um, does MJF have heat with Punk? I don't know. He seemed to be pretty neutral in the whole brawl out thing. So I just think it, like you said, it could have been anybody. Just happened to be Punk.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, on that note, if you have agreed with anything, let us know in the comments below. If you disagreed with anything, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. And until next time, top guys out.